Hi, Stuart Bruce here, and I am the Spare Time Property Investor. In these podcasts, I'm going to share tips, tricks and lessons that I've learned and will hopefully help you, especially if you're still working the 9 to 5. Hello and welcome to another episode of the Spare Time Property Investor podcast. First off, I want to thank everybody who's been supporting the podcast so far. As I record this, I'm very close to 4,000 downloads, which is very cool. Not quite there yet, but I'm kind of hoping by the time this goes up, maybe I'll get over that 4,000 threshold, which would be really great. So thank you for that. Thank you to everybody who's been doing reviews, 5-star reviews, and I want to get a post actually. I'm gonna just give me a second. I'm gonna go and find a review, and I'm going to come back and I'll read it out. So here's the review from back in July. The person says that the podcast is informal and educational, great pod. Really great podcast. Stuart's interview style is informal and he helps conversations flow well. The information from both Stuart and his guests is superb, and there are lots of takeaways from each episode. So thank you very much, and if you'd like your 5-star review to be read out on the podcast, write one and it will most likely get onto the podcast. And thank you everybody who's been sharing episodes and everything like that. It's really appreciated. But for now, let's get into the main body of the podcast, which is all about the state of the market at the moment. I don't know if you've noticed, but I've definitely noticed, and other people I speak to have noticed, that there's a real lack of really good stock in the property market at the moment. So by which I mean properties that are available for a good price that look, maybe you could do a buy, refurb, refinance on a property that's at a good price, so you could, have a buy to let without leaving too much of your capital in there, or convert them into HMOs. There just seems to be a bit of a lack of stock at the moment. And because of that, it feels very much like a seller's market. So people are confident they're going to get very close to their asking price, especially with the stamp duty holiday and things like that, making it a little bit cheaper for people to buy. So houses just seem to be going quite quickly, especially around where we are, meaning it's more and more difficult to find those, great deals that you can stack and move on. So what do? Throw in the towel, wait for the market to change, or something else? For us personally, we want to grow, so throwing in the towel is just not an option. So we're putting more effort into finding direct-to-vendor deals, by which I mean off-market deals. So they're not deals that are being advertised currently on Rightmove, they're not with an estate agent or anything like that. They're just people who have properties that they might well want to get rid of for one reason or another. But how do you find these people? So I know a lot of people use leaflets. This isn't something we've done so far, so I'm not really going to go into it in any great detail, but I'm going to give our reasons for why we're not doing leaflets, for the time being anyway. For us, it feels like a bit of a scattergun approach, because we've got a very specific sort of property we want, because we're HMO landlords, and we want to focus on that just for the time being. So the leafleting approach, where you kind of have a geographical area that you leaflet and you have somebody to actually go and deliver those leaflets, seems for us probably doesn't work. So we want it to be more targeted. And also, one of the properties that we've got, I noticed, I went around to do a couple of little odd jobs, and it's also quite a nice opportunity to go into the property to see how things look, to make sure everything's okay. And while I was in the property, I noticed a couple of leaflets, one on the doormat and one on the side. They were just there, they hadn't been passed on to us, and our tenants weren't interested in them. It made me think actually those leaflets will never get to us, and I'm sure a lot of the leaflets just end up going straight into the bin. So I'm sure that people do a great job and get really good results from leaflets. I would assume that it's a numbers game, and you probably have to have quite a long lead up of sending leaflets out month after month after month for those deals to convert, like every other strategy. But for us, that's not what we wanted to do. So we decided on a more targeted approach. So we got the HMO list for one of the investment areas we like in our area, and did a letter and sent it out to those properties, and got a few responses. And one of those responses, I've actually been nurturing that relationship for over a year now, and it's just converted into an offer that's been accepted. So these do work. And that property, providing nothing goes wrong in the buying process, which it could do, let's be honest, will be a great addition to our portfolio. So really, really happy that I nurtured that relationship and followed up again to make sure that we've had that offer accepted. So they do work. So that's the first approach, letters to HMOs in the area that we're looking at. The second strategy that we use is drop letters. So I have letters printed out in the car. So when I'm driving around and I happen to see a property that looks a bit run down, looks like it could do with some TLC, but in a nice area, I'll drop the letter through the letterbox and I'll make a record of where that property is so I can follow up in a month or two. And, at some point, hopefully one of those people will give me a call and we can start the process of us potentially, buying it. Another method people use is contacting people directly through Spare Room. Spare Room do not like it. We did it a little while ago and we actually got banned. They were good enough to open the account back up, but I didn't realise there were certain words in the messages that I was sending to people that triggered a response from Spare Room, and they banned us very quickly. So be careful if you're going to do that. I have rung a few people from Spare Room. It hasn't been that fruitful so far, but Spare Room do not like you approaching landlords directly through the platform because it's not for that purpose. But you can do it, and I know other people who do it. Another method that I really like, and it's probably our favourite, and it's something we will continue doing for the foreseeable future, is a newsletter. So our newsletter is available online, it's free, anybody can download it, but we also print a physical copy that goes out to landlords of properties in one of our target areas. So it actually goes to the landlord's address, not the HMO itself. And the newsletter is written to be helpful. It's written so we can try and build some trust with these landlords. And so far, I've had a really great response from the people who have contacted us off the back of it. Saying just that it stands out, it's a little bit different, and the content is valuable. So hopefully some of these people I've been having conversations with, once I've nurtured that relationship over months, maybe years, some of them will convert. And that's the point of direct to vendor, actually. It's not a transaction. If you go into an estate agent, you know exactly what you want. You want a 3-bed, you want it in whatever town, you have a price range, you go, you get an offer accepted, and then it's all the buying process. It's very transactional. However, with direct to vendor, you're building a relationship, you're building rapport, trust. So at some point that person actually thinks, this person that I've had these calls with, that keeps on calling me, is somebody that they want to work with. So because it's all about building that relationship, that trust, that rapport, so when you're following up, it has to be friendly. You're trying to build that rapport. You're not trying to, badger somebody. So that is definitely something to be mindful of, because the last thing you want is to follow up with someone for months and then get impatient maybe, and then ruin that relationship. That could, turn into a deal for you. So it is all about investing that time, and at some point, hopefully, one of those people will turn around and say, yes, they want to work with you, which is what it's all about. So if there's a lack of good properties in your area, you're not seeing the deals that you want, and you haven't started a direct-to-vendor campaign yet, why not try one of these strategies? Because actually, it's a commitment. You need to stick with them for months, if not more. They're a long play, but actually, if you can get a deal or two off the back of them and then keep on moving, it's so worth it. But to be clear, this is not to say that we don't go on Rightmove or speak to estate agents anymore. This is in addition to those other methods of finding properties, to just give us the best chance possible of finding those deals. So if you do choose to add a direct-to-vendor campaign to your kind of method of finding properties, run it in parallel to your other methods as well, because you wouldn't want to miss out on that deal that pops up on Rightmove. It's absolutely perfect for you because you're too focused on direct-to-vendor. So that's it from me for this week. I hope you enjoyed the episodes. If you got some value from it, please share it, please like it. But for now, best of luck, and I'll see you again next time. Thank you so much for listening to my podcast, and I really hope you enjoyed it. If you have, please leave me a 5-star review to help other people find it, and don't forget to hit that subscribe button.